What's up, world? This is Bright with Eagles Real Talk, the flyest covering the Eagles on YouTube. Thank you for tapping in with me today. We're going to get straight into my Week 15 power rankings. Who's the most elite team? Who is sliding down? Who is trending up? Let's get straight into it. Okay, there is no surprise at the number one spot, okay? It's Fly Eagles, fly all day. The number one team with the best record in the NFL, with the best player in the NFL. And if you don't have those three letters next to his name, and I'm talking about Jalen Hurts, then I don't know what you're doing. MVP, he has been playing lights out. He has 30-something touchdowns with only 3 interceptions. Just for, comparison's sake, Mahomes, who a lot of people think is the MVP as well, or close to being at the top of the MVP race, well, he had 3 interceptions, against the Broncos, this past Sunday. So I just want to shut all that down. Jalen Hurts is the number one player on the number one team, MVP. Just give him the award. But as far as the team goes, this team has been playing lights out. I mean, offense, defense, offensive line is just dominating in the trenches. The quarterback is playing, lights out, like I said. The running back, top 5 in the league this year, Miles Sanders, just taking care of business and working overtime too. 144 yards the other day, set a new record for himself. I just think this defense is humming like Kid Cudi in his prime, okay? They're just taking care of business across the board. If a guy goes out, the next guy, next man up mentality, the dog mentality. Nick Sirianni has this team barking and biting people all over the field. I love this team. I love the energy. I think they're going to keep this going and remain the number one team in the NFL this year. But let's get into the number 2 team, the Buffalo Bills, who are coming off a solid win against the Jets. The Jets have a very, very strong defense, so they took care of business. Last time the Jets got the better of them, so this time Josh Allen wasn't having that and he got the win. This week they have a tough matchup, but it's definitely in their favor because it's supposed to be a Christmas-like snowy day in Buffalo, and the Dolphins are coming into town. And you've seen how they didn't even like, traveling across to Levi Stadium in San Fran. They were cold in the stadium. So we'll see how they look this week because it's gonna be freezing. And I don't think Tua is trending up at this point. Tua is trending down. More to come on Tua. Bengals. Now those Jungle Cats, they are taking care of business. Don't sleep on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They have a top pass game. Mixon is just running harder than hell this year. Their defense isn't nothing to look down upon. This team is tough in the AFC, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the Super Bowl to face the Philadelphia Eagles when it's all said and done. But they may have to go through Buffalo, and that's a tough task. The 49ers, obviously, they're trending up. We thought Jimmy G going down would make them go down, but I was wrong. Purdy, like I said earlier, he is pretty damn good. This guy is just, he has no fear in the pocket. He's a little mobile. He has, some swagger about him, especially for being Mr. Irrelevant, the last player taken in the draft. This guy's got a lot of moxie, and I like it. Behind them, capping off the top 5 teams, I have the Cowboys at 10-3. Now, they barely squeaked a win against the worst team in the league, so I had to drop them a few spots. The Chiefs are at 10-3. Obviously, if you've been watching my channel, you know how I feel about the Chiefs. I think they're a little fraudulent. Without Tyreek Hill, that offense just doesn't scare me. Mahomes, he threw 3 interceptions. A lot of people had him going, head toe-to-toe with Jalen Hurts in the MVP race, but Jalen Hurts has 3 interceptions, and this guy Mahomes threw 3 interceptions against the Broncos, okay? So let's go ahead and shut down that. It's the MVP race is totally Jalen Hurts to lose at this point. We have the Vikings at the number 7 spot. Obviously, they lost to the Lions this week. Big disappointment for them. I picked the Lions to win last week. It was no surprise to me. The Lions are definitely playing tough. We'll get down to them in a second. The Ravens. Now, the Ravens, I thought they were maybe going to lose to the Steelers. Tomlin definitely has, it in him to raise his team a little bit higher, especially in those AFC divisional, tough games, but he wasn't able to get it done with Mitch Trubisky. And, the Ravens snuck out a win with a backup. That just bodes well for their defense and their hopes to continue to get better these last 3 or 4 weeks. Obviously, the Dolphins just couldn't get it done against the Chargers this Monday Night Football. So I actually have them staying right at the number 9 spot, and the Chargers moving up 8 spots. Last week, they're at the 18th spot. Now they're at number 10. They showed me they have some top 10 qualities, and maybe they're not as big of a fraudulent squad as I thought they were. Seahawks, they're trending down. Patriots, they're trending up. They're at the 12th spot. Jets, like I said, they're dealing with, some injuries and things, but the Jets are doing solid because I didn't even think they would have 7 wins. So to be at 7-6, that's impressive. But let's get into the Lions. Now, the Lions are a tough team, and if they find a way into the playoffs, they're going to give somebody their best week of football that week. I can already tell you because, you can already tell how emotional, Dan Campbell is. Now, imagine if he gets into the playoffs. Imagine that speech going into that game. He's probably going to have those Lions roaring and fired up. I'm not saying they're a lock to win any playoff games, but they're definitely playing really well on both sides of the football. And Goff, got to give it to him. He's slanging that pill, man. He's doing what he's got to do, and he just got a new weapon, Jameson Williams, and he scored a touchdown. This team is tough. Do not sleep on the Lions. Now, I'm going to go through the rest of the teams very quick. So we have the Titans at 7-6. They're just trending down. Just can't seem to figure it out the past few weeks. The Commanders, I have them at the number 16 spot. Right behind them is the Bucks. The Bucks may make the playoffs, but man, they look like trash this year. The 49ers just completely killed them, 35-7. Ugh. It was just an ugly loss for Brady and the Bucks. Jaguars are trending up. Now, I think the Jaguars, they may beat the Cowboys. I have to think about it a little bit before my prediction video that comes out tomorrow, but I think the Cowboys may take a L in Jacksonville this week. More to come on that tomorrow. The Giants sitting at 7-5-1. Obviously, we just crushed them. They're just going to keep trending down. I said a couple weeks ago that they were only going to win maybe 1 or 2 games going forward. One of those has been a tie against the Commanders, and then this week, obviously, they took a fat L to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I have the Giants slipping out of the playoffs. So I think that number 7 spot, that wild card spot, is up for grabs, and I think the Lions may snag it. The Steelers behind them, Falcons, Raiders, Browns, Panthers, and Packers all at 5-8. Now, obviously, these teams have no hope for the rest of the season. They're just playing spoiler. And the Packers. Now, the Packers had a bye week. They're trash. Colts, Saints, Cardinals. Cardinals just lost Murray, so I'm not sure how they're going to be the rest of the season. And the bottom 4 teams, Rams, Bears, and Broncos, Texans, all trash. So that's going to, finish out my top 32 and the power rankings. Let me know where you have, your favorite team. If you think the Eagles are still the number 1 team in the NFL and in the NFC, or do you think the 49ers are actually the best team? You let me know in the comments. You already know how I'm thinking. It's fly, Eagles, fly. Catch you guys on the next video. Thank you again for tapping in with me. And that's going to do it. Fly, Eagles, fly, and keep it real always. Peace.